Hey guys, I'm a simple caveman. Welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be reviewing the well-known and well-loved Elden Ring. It got a Game Award for Best Game of the Year in 2022, and I just recently played it, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on the game and how relevant it still is in the year 2024. Alright, so then without further ado, let's get into the actual meat of the game. So, the game itself has sold 23 million copies worldwide, which is a crazy amount. And it has tons of online active players still at this time in 2024, 2 years after the game's release date, which was in February of 2022. So right now, currently, it has in the past month an active players of about 2.7 million still playing it, and it also gets ton of watch time on things such as Twitch, where it has 11 million hours worth of watch time. And tons of people really like the combat system in this game. I personally would also agree. The only negatives I noticed while playing this game is that it's really easy to lose track of time, and you can decide whether that is a good thing or a bad thing. So that's my 2 cents on that. Now for the next part, you may be wondering, okay, this game is pretty expensive. It's $60, but it is probably the most worthwhile game you can buy for your money in the current state of the way things are right now, because for the $60 you pay, you will easily get an easy 60 hours worth of playtime, which when you think about it is $1 per hour. So that's pretty good payoff in my opinion, but that's only if you're focusing on just the main objectives. If you're trying to just, be more casual and explore the entire game, you will easily be north of 130 some hours. Personally, I'm not even close to done with this game yet, and I already have 90 hours of this game. And some of the best mechanics of this game is the way you just can have a completely different playthrough each time. Doing so just with many different unique builds and styles, being that there's different categories in the game, like for damage, like frost and blood and poison. So you could do a poison build, or you could do a blood build, or you could do a frost build, or you could just be that tanky player with a lot of health that just spams the RB button. Whatever it is you want to do, you can do whatever. You could also be like a mage where all you're doing is casting spells from a distance. It really lets you just create whatever kind of character you want in a game where there's so many different weapons and ashes of war and armor and the like. Now, to be honest, the difficulty of the game is not for the faint of heart. I will be honest. It is not the easiest game ever, and is definitely just as hard as you might hear people say it is. But with that being said, the challenge is what makes it fun, because you see yourself progress throughout the game in both just your play style and also your skill level as you keep going on in the game. You'll just start getting better at dodging and parrying and all of the stuff, and knowing how to play each boss and their different unique move sets. The learning curve, though, in Elden Ring is also very interesting, and it's definitely difficult, I would agree too, but it's also very forgiving, because when you die, the only thing you really lose is ruins, which is like the currency in the game and how you level up your character. And those can be recovered back, though, when you die very easily, so it's not the end of the world. The only problem is if you die twice in a row. If you do that without grabbing them, then you will lose those runes that you had beforehand, which can be quite annoying when it happens. So you always got to make sure you grab them after you die. But there are also ways to make it that you don't lose your runes in the game through different things like the cracked twiggy, I believe it was called, and just different stuff like that. So when you die, you don't lose them. So it's pretty forgiving when you die, and trust me, you will die a lot. I definitely have died way too many times in this game. But to get better, it's just like anything, really. All you have to do is just to play it more consistently and more often. Because when you do that, you're just going to start to figure out the timings for different rolls, or just for having to roll better at timing, because when you roll, you get immunity from different attacks. And if you time those, I mean, you could definitely beat this game theoretically without dying. But I guarantee you will probably die at least a few times in this game, because it is not that easy. But that's it for the difficulty of this game. Now, for the performance of the game, there are some very minor small bugs, and it did have kind of a bad release for its launch, where there was some issues affecting certain players. But a lot of those, after now 2 years of the game being out, have been polished and aren't an issue anymore. And if you do run into a new bug, they're usually very minor. I personally haven't really ran into anything besides just like maybe a guy dying weird or just stuff like that. But I also can't be talking about it too much because I'm using a mod to play with my friend at the same time. So it makes it that I have more bugs because, the mod's not the actual base game itself. But the performance of the game in general is pretty good. It's probably not the best in the world. I mean, I don't have the best PC in the world, but I was still able to run it just fine. And it's kind of expected with games these days, where it's such a big open world game that the size of the Elden Ring map is huge. And with how big it is, there's so many moving parts and different stuff in the background, so your performance is obviously not going to be the best as a game like Valorant, where you're going to be getting like 600 frames per second. But anyway, that's that for the performance of the game. Now, talking about how relevant the game is at this time, it's very relevant right now, especially because just recently they announced the new DLC that is coming out on June 20th, and because of that, a lot of people are playing the game again right now to get their character ready for when the new DLC comes out, which is going to add from software, the developers of the game are expecting to be an extra 30 hours of story, which is a crazy add-on to an already amazing game when you think about it. So because of that, everyone is playing right now. And even if you aren't playing for that, even when this game is even if you've played this game through already, you could always play it again, because yes, the story will be the same, but the way you play it every time will be different, because there is actually different outcomes to the story, and you can create multiple different characters every single time that are all just different ways of playing the game, and try to do different ways of beating it, such as how I was talking before, where you could be like a sorcerer, or you could be like a tank. Now, for the last part that we're going to talk about for this game is how it actually makes you feel, and whether or not I would recommend this game to different people that enjoy open world RPGs. So, in my opinion, the satisfaction of this game, whenever you beat a boss that you've been struggling with or trying to defeat for how long, or when you finally complete a quest, that satisfaction that you feel from finally reaching that goal is probably my favorite part about this game, because it's so difficult that it feels rewarding when you beat difficult bosses in this game. And I would definitely recommend this game for anyone that loves open world action RPGs, and a good example of one would be Zelda Breath of Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. If you like those games, personally, I didn't think I would like this game. I was pleasantly surprised that I love this game. It is just like Tears of Kingdom in like its like playstyle like setup and just, you know, the story and whatnot. But it is that much better of a game in my opinion. So I'm gonna give this game 9.5 out of 10. It is amazing and very fun to play through. My only problem with it is that I wish the multiplayer allowed you to play the whole game with your friends beginning to end. But in the end, it is still an amazing game. And if you want to get your hands on it, you can play it on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. So pretty much all of them. And then, yeah, if you like the Zelda Breath of Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, both the Spider-Man games, I love all those games. And I love this game just as much, if not more, than I love those games. So with all the info I just gave you, if this game sounds fun to you and you really want to get it, it is a cheap $60 on Steam, or you could pre-order to get the DLC that comes out on June 20th, 2024. So you can get excited for that if you're just starting the game. And if you made it this far, make sure you like and subscribe. And that's about it for this one. So peace out.